If the number 2 pencil is the most popular, why is it still number 2? Doesn't make much sense, does it? Hello, I'm Robert. Welcome to my home studio. Here in my home studio, I host a live stream show every Saturday afternoon, roughly around 1 p.m. Eastern time, 1 p.m. ish, heavy on the ish. Sometimes my schedule doesn't always allow me to get started at 1 p.m., which is the reason why we're heavy on the ish. But both on the live stream as well as in the comment sections of various other videos on my channel, I've had a lot of questions lately about things that the equipment that I use to make my YouTube videos. And to be clear, we're talking more about the camera and various other video equipment that I use, as opposed to the guitar gear. Because the guitar gear, there's plenty of it on this channel, and it varies quite a bit from one video to the next. But as far as actual video production, I get asked that question a fair amount, and my videos are not the most stunning looking videos on YouTube by any stretch of the imagination, and I'm well aware of that. But after 5 years, I've got a pretty firm grip on at least on a rudimentary working knowledge of how to get this done now. So if you are interested in starting up your own YouTube channel, be it a guitar channel like mine or a different topic altogether in a different genre altogether, here are 9 things that you are going to need in order to produce top-notch videos for your budding YouTube channel. Number 1, you gotta have a camera, right? Probably the most obvious thing that you need. There are cameras with so many different features. It's across so many different price points by so many different manufacturers. There's not quite as many manufacturers, camera companies, as there are guitar companies. So you have that going for you. But the various different features and price points, especially if you're not familiar with camera specs or anything like that at all, it can get pretty daunting. It can get pretty overwhelming, and your head can start spinning pretty quickly. So here's what I recommend. Once you have your budget set, the next thing that you need to decide on are what features are important to you. For me, I had to have, when I bought my most recent camera, I had to have a camera with a flip-out screen, something that I can see myself in, what's going on in my shot and everything. That is a must, especially for YouTube, because there is nothing more frustrating and more annoying than having to go back and reshoot everything that you just recorded and you thought came out great, but you found out you were zoomed in too close or something like that, and half your head got chopped off. So I needed something with a flip-out screen. I needed something with a cold shoe on top that I could mount a microphone or a light onto if I needed to. It also had to have a microphone input. And last but not least, I needed it to shoot really good video quality in 1080p. 1080p is still the standard on YouTube. There are plenty of people that are uploading videos in 4K these days, and 4K is great. And the camera I did also want something that would be 4K, that would be able to shoot 4K down the road for when that does become the standard. But for right now, 1080p is still the standard. And the downside to shooting 4K is when you go to render your videos, it takes forever because there is just so much more data in those video files. And what I ended up landing on is called a bridge camera from Panasonic out of their Lumix series called the FZ300. This camera costs about $400. It's what I am looking into and shooting this video with right now. I was able to buy it on Amazon for $400. It was right there within my price range, the money that I wanted to spend. and it does everything I needed to do, plus a whole lot more. I decided to go with the bridge camera route because I didn't want to have to mess with switching lenses in and out all the time, because for most of my videos, I'm usually this far away from the camera. I don't need to zoom in really far away or anything like that. Now, I recognize $400 may still be a little salty for for a camera for some people, and that's okay. My first camera did not cost me $400. My first camera was and still is. I still use it. An older DSLR called from Nikon called the D3300, and you can look around and you can find those on the used market for probably in the $200 to $300 range. There's definitely some older cameras to be had, and the cool thing about cameras is technology does not advance that quickly from one generation, from one model to the next, from last year's model to this year's model. So you can get a model that's 2 or 3 or 4 years old and still get excellent, great quality video. So do your homework. Search Amazon. Amazon is a great place to find, also a great place to find some, some great deals on cameras, and get what you need. Number 2, the tripod. This one may seem fairly obvious. If you're buying a camera, it might be a good idea to buy a tripod, right? Well, the truth is, it probably is fairly obvious, but the reason why I included it on this list is because I want to warn you, and I've learned this lesson the hard way, especially if you get a camera that could be a little bit heavier, like the FZ300 that I'm shooting this video on. Do not cheap out on the tripod, okay? You just spent a lot of money on that camera. You don't want a cheap tripod to be the downfall of it. The camera that I am looking into and shooting this video with right now, the very first thing that I did was mount it on a cheap tripod. Sure enough, I accidentally bumped into it and knocked it over, and the little hook on the left side of it that holds the camera strap is forever dented in. Fortunately, that is the only damage that occurred to it, but it's no fun damaging a brand new camera, knocking it right off of a tripod, that you just spent a lot of money for because you cheaped out on the tripod. Spend a little bit of money on a good tripod, especially if you got a camera with some weight on it. I recommend this particular Zome model, which is one that I use. It is extremely sturdy. It has always served me well, and this is the first one that I bought that I didn't have to replace within 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Don't buy a cheap tripod. So the other reason why you want to have a good tripod laying around is if you are doing a video such as this one. There's nothing more annoying as a viewer than watching the camera bouncing around while somebody's trying to speak into it, and that always, as a consumer of YouTube content, that always drives me crazy. Yeah, there are plenty of people that vlog all day long with a handheld camera, and some of them do work better than others. But if you're gonna be stationary, get yourself a tripod. Your viewers will thank you. Number 3, microphones. You gotta have something to capture your audio with, right? I've got a fair amount invested in microphones, but a lot of that is because I record a lot of guitars on this channel, and I have to have microphones specifically for that. I also have to have microphones specifically to capture my dialogue. The microphone that I'm speaking into right now, this is a microphone from Aston Microphones called the Stealth, and I love it. I really, really love it. This thing's got 4 modes on it, and it also has an active and passive mode on it, so those 4 modes turn into 8 modes depending on if I'm running phantom power into this microphone or not, because it's designed to run both ways. But I'm also running it directly into an interface and not into my camera. This microphone is designed to be a direct competitor of a very, very well-known microphone from Shure called the SM7B, and you see that microphone on YouTube channels and podcasts and everything all over the place. It is very, very popular because it's a great mic. That being said, because it's a competitor of the SM7B, this microphone also costs about $400. You don't need a $400 microphone, especially if you were just starting out on a YouTube channel. If you took my advice from item number 1 on this list and you bought yourself a camera with a microphone input, you can get on Amazon and buy yourself an inexpensive lavalier mic from a company called Boya for about $20. That'll plug right into your camera. It'll clip right onto your shirt, and it will capture your voice just fine. You do not want to use the camera's built-in microphone. Not a single produced video on this planet has ever been done with the audio captured from a camera microphone. The only reason why that microphone is there is to help you line up your video with your actual recorded audio when you're editing everything together in post. That's the only thing they're good for. So if you don't have a lot of money to spend on a microphone, buy yourself a $20 lavalier mic, to capture your dialogue. I used one on this channel for a long time before I upgraded, and it worked just fine. Number 4, lighting. There are any number of different ways that you can light up your filming environment. For a long time, I used about 2 or 3 of these little LED, battery-powered LED lights that just mounted right on top of the cameras. And, I had one on top of the camera pointing at me. I had another one on the floor pointing out the floor at whatever pedal I was demoing. And, if there was a third one necessary, I had that third one on backup for whatever I may have needed it for. And, and they did fine. But eventually I got sick and tired of having to swap out batteries. But for the first few years, it worked out just fine. And if you wanted to know what I eventually upgraded to, and I put that term in quotations because my upgrade cost me about $40. And what it is the soft light that you can buy on Amazon from Limo. That is the light that's being used in this video right now. It's lightweight, easy to carry around. And, you can fold it, you can collapse it and take it with you wherever you need to go. The bulbs in it last forever. I'm still on the original bulb that came with it 2 years later. It does a great job of filling my room with all the light that I could possibly need, and really, really went a long way to improve the look of my videos. So if you're shooting indoors, you're going to need lighting of some kind. Your lighting is just as important as your camera and your audio. Every bit as important, if not more so. But that doesn't mean you got to spend a lot of money on it. Number 5, you got to have a computer. You got to be able to edit this stuff and upload it to YouTube, right? I needed to upgrade my computer a couple of years ago, and I just didn't want to spend a lot of money on it. I hate spending a lot of money on something knowing that I'm going to have to spend it again in probably 5 or 6 years. I found that Amazon sells a lot of excellent refurbished computers that are good as new. Probably better because somebody went through it with a fine-tooth comb. Because with refurbished anything, whoever it is that's refurbishing it, this is already the second time that they've seen it. They don't want to see it a third. They're going to go through everything and make sure that it is working as perfectly as it possibly can. So I found myself a brand new refurbished computer that you see right here that has a solid state hard drive in it, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and a Pentium iCore 7 processor, which is plenty fast enough for all of the software, the heavy duty software that I need to run on it to be able to do this efficiently, all for about $400. Great deal. I think the monitor, this is a 25-inch 1080p monitor. I think I paid another $80 or $100 for. So if you got an older computer that is a little bit slower, it'll work, but be prepared. It's going to work a little bit slower. If you want something that's going to work faster, these are the specs that I would recommend for your computer. Number 6. External hard drive. This is obviously just an extension of the computer that I talked about in number 5, but the truth is you're going to be cranking out a lot of video files, and they take up a lot of space. For me, I'm creating video files and audio files, and I've ran out of space in my hard drive twice already. I've added another hard drive internally, and I also have an external hard drive that I store. That one stores all of my final video files on it, and the actual file that gets uploaded to YouTube, just in case I ever need it again. That's where it goes. But all my internal hard drives, I was pretty surprised at how fast I ran out of that much space, and I had gigabytes on top of gigabytes. So be prepared that this venture is going to require a lot of memory space. Go ahead and invest in an external hard drive so that you got something separate to store everything on. Number 7, video editing software. You got to be able to edit all this stuff, and so that it looks the way that you want it to look before you upload it to YouTube, right? That's what video editing software is for. If you're not familiar with video editing software, this is probably going to be your biggest learning curve. It certainly was for me. I didn't have a clue how to use a video editing software at all. None. And what I started out with was a free software that comes with Windows called Windows Movie Maker. And that is as basic as it gets. It does not, video editing software does not get any basic or any more basic or simpler than that. Which is exactly what I needed, because I needed to learn the basics, and I got to do it with free software. Eventually, I kind of got a firm enough grip on it that I was able to upgrade. And when I did, I ended up going with a smaller version of Vegas called Movie Studio Platinum. And I think that started out with 13, and now I'm on 15. I still use that software today. I paid less than $100 for the entire suite, and it does everything that I needed to do. You can spend the big money, $300, $400, $500 on Vegas or Final Cut or any of the the larger softwares. You can certainly spend that kind of money on it if you want to, but you really don't need to. The day may come that you do need to, but just getting started, don't mess with it. Because going back to the previous point that I made, the larger versions of the software tend to eat up more hard drive space. Number 8 is something that you cannot buy, and this is probably the second most important thing on this list, and that is to go into this with the right mindset. If you are starting up your own YouTube channel and you're doing it with the sole intention to make money, you're gonna fail. That's just the way it works. Why? Because people can see that right from the get-go, and you're never going to be able to grow your audience if you're just trying to get them to watch your videos just so that they can trigger more ad revenue for you. It ain't going to happen. YouTube viewers can not only can they sniff that out a mile away, but they're going to tell you when they sniff it out. So if you're going into this with the sole intention of making money, and by the way, and I'm not talking about large corporations or or businesses that are starting up a YouTube channel as part of their business model and a way to communicate with their customers. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about somebody like me sitting in their home that's just sitting in front of a camera, hoping to generate views just to generate ad revenue. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not genuine. It's not at all what people want to see, and you're going to fail. So go into it with the right mindset. Go into it with with the mindset you want to learn video production. You enjoy video production. You enjoy you enjoy the whole process. That's why I'm still doing this 5 years later, because I truly enjoy making YouTube videos. This is fun for me. I get to try out a lot of different guitar gear. I get to interact with a lot of different guitar players and other musicians through YouTube and various other social media. And most importantly, it's challenged me as a guitar player in some areas that I was previously afraid to venture into, such as writing my own riffs and turning them into songs. I was always very, very skeptical about doing that, and I had a fear of doing that. And YouTube forced me to start doing it. And it's not about how good I've gotten at it or how much people may enjoy it. And I've gotten feedback on all kinds of feedback on that stuff since I've been doing that. But I never would have started it if it weren't for YouTube. Make YouTube videos because you enjoy making YouTube videos, and that's it. Trust me, you are going to be a lot more successful. Number 9. This is the final and most important item on this list that you need to start up a YouTube channel. What is it? Great content. I don't care if you spend $1 zillion on your camera. I don't care if you spend $100 zillion on your lighting. If you got the greatest audio recording setup in the world. If your content sucks, your video sucks. Period. When it comes to attracting viewers on YouTube, perception is reality. None of all that other stuff that I've talked about in this video, great content trumps all of it. What is great content? That's a different answer for every YouTube creator out there, I think. And in my experience, that comes with experimentation. The first video that I had that really took off was a list, similar to this one, about worst guitar pedals ever. I watch it today and I kind of cringe because I've learned a lot since I made that video, but that video still today gets tons of views, tons of comments, good and bad, and has become one of my most popular videos, and that was the one that generated, that perpetuated the rest of my channel from there. I did not expect that one to blow up the way that it did. I was just trying something different because quite honestly, that day I was out of any other ideas. And so I tried something different, and lo and behold, that's the one that took off. So you need to try different things and figure out exactly what it is that your audience wants to see from you. And once you can figure that out, that will give you a much better idea of what the definition of great content is on your channel. Once you can figure out how to produce great content, then it gets really, really fun. So there you have it. Thank you so much for taking the time to check out this video. I know it ran a lot longer than I expected it to. If you guys got into this at all, there's quite a few things I would have liked to have elaborated on, as far as like cameras and microphones and things like that. But, if you guys got into this, maybe I can, maybe I'll do some videos on those things more in depth, just those topics here down the road. In the meantime, I will post links to everything that I discussed down in the description of this video where you yourself can check it out. And don't forget to leave comments down in the comment section. That's what it's there for, right? Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.